Mel, she's up. She says, I'm sending video emails and it's getting some traction, but when they ask for price, I'm having some trouble. What kind of points do you try to convey when they ask, how much does it cost? I swear this question was asked last week. I swear this was, anyways, how much does it cost? Well, Mel, if that's the first question out of a prospect's mouth, they're probably not going to be a good client. I've experienced that many times. Those are price conscious people, and I understand we all are price conscious to a degree, but the problem with people that come right out of the gate with how much does it cost is it's because they have already made assumptions, right? And all they're looking at, they look at marketing as an expense, not an investment. And it's very hard to satisfy any client that thinks of marketing as an expense instead of an investment. Marketing should create an ROI. And if it creates a return on investment, then it's an investment. It's an ROI. Investment is right in that title. You know what I mean? So when they come right out of the gate with thinking of it as an expense and asking how much does it cost, then even if you were to land them as a client, you're probably going to have difficulty with them. They're never going to be satisfied. They're always going to be questioning what's going on because they're penny pinching, right? And because they're, so again, Mel, I just want to explain that that's a red flag for me over the years. After doing this so many years, that's a red flag for me. So I would recommend that, you know, when it comes down to that, I try to avoid pricing stuff up front until after I've had a chance to talk with them and analyze like a particular property. That said, sometimes, you know, you have to tell them up front, like, you know, what it is, and you're going to lose them. Like a lot of the times you're going to lose them, but don't undercut your services just to try to land clients. I get how important it is, especially when you're starting out or you're trying to build an agency, because I've done it, guys. Like I have taken any client on that was willing to give me money, regardless of my gut feeling. We've all talked about this. All of my partners, all of us at Semantic Mastery have had similar experiences. I'm looking forward to hearing some comments about this again in just a moment. But my point is, every time, you know, I've done it as well, where many times over the years where I've said, okay, you know, it's money, I'm going to take it, and I've had a bad gut feeling, and then it ends up being a nightmare. It requires so much additional work, so much hand holding, so much convincing that what I'm doing is valuable, that it's just not worth it. You're better off just prospecting more clients until you find those that don't put up as much resistance or that understand that it's an investment that should produce a return on investment, that, you know, should produce a return instead of an expense. So again, when it comes down to somebody says, how much does it cost? Typically that's, you know, if you want to just answer them, get them out of your life, like, thank you very much. That's what Bill Good in Hot Prospects says. He says it all in one word, no spaces between them. Thank you very much. Click, like hang up. You know what I mean? And I don't mean be a prick about it. I just mean, like, you know, give them the price and let them say, oh, nope, that's too much. And let them hang up on you then. That's fine. Don't take it personal. Move on. Prospect like what I just showed you over here. Fill your pipeline full of prospects and you won't have to worry about that. Does that make sense? Now, I know you're doing video emails, and I know that's a much slower process. And that's why I recommend that with the video emails, you keep them very short, because you don't want to spend. Here's the thing, Mel. When I get a client referral and I do a video email with an analysis of their properties and stuff, sometimes those go 20, 25 minutes long. I'm not kidding. But that's because it was a client referral. So there's a much better chance of me landing that client anyways. It's a high quality lead because it was a client referral. But when I'm doing cold prospecting and I'm sending video emails, which I don't really do so much anymore because it's so time consuming, I like the shotgun approach better because you can scale it. But with, you know, with starting out, that rifle approach of doing video emails is very effective. But I would try to keep your initial video, your outreach video, down to like 5 minutes or less, so that you can bang out several of them within an hour and get them out. Because again, it's a numbers game. You might get out of sending 10, you might get, you know, 3. My consistent numbers were 3 or 4 responses out of every 10 emails that I sent. And out of every 3 or 4 responses, I would typically get 1 client, sometimes 2. And so again, that's what I recommend, that you try to keep it down, keep it short. Otherwise, you end up, you know, with 15 or 20-minute videos for every potential client, cold email that you send. And that's just way too much work. What are your comments, guys?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Bradley, in terms of the quality of the clients that you're getting. And, you know, it's funny because I was on Franker, one of the masterminds call, like 5 minutes before the hangout, and one thing he said really resonated with me. And he was saying it's way easier to increase the quality of the clients that you get than to try to re-educate them into why your stuff that you're doing is worth it. So in other words, instead of trying to re-educate themselves on why they will need to take your marketing serious, and why they're doing an investment, and why they should be doing this and should be doing that, that puts you in a perspective of, well, I need now to educate them into why my stuff is valuable, right? The perfect client, which is something that you need to come up with. That there's nothing that, you need to come up with what's your perfect type of client, which sometimes, like I would say, 9 times out of 10, we don't do. We just go and try to find as many clients as possible. And that puts you in the position of getting the worst type of clients on earth, pretty much, right? So number one, ask yourself what your perfect type of client is. And number two, try to find those clients in a way that they already understand that marketing is an investment. That, Bradley will tell you, yeah, go after the AdWords guys. Go after the guys that they're already advertising, because they already know. Or go after the guys that are doing SEO, that you can actually pinpoint that they're doing SEO, or they have their maps already set up. Maybe not perfect, but they understand the value that AdWords can bring to their business, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why I think it's way easier and way more rewarding, and you will end up working with better clients, getting better quality, and try to enhance your process of getting clients to get better quality clients, then try to, turn someone's minds over, which is nearly impossible, and it will wear you out. You know what I'm saying? So that will be my comment on it.
All right, I'll play devil's advocate real quick, and not disagreeing, actually, just offering the counterpoint. And I would say that also you got to do your homework on this one. I've seen people go in and try to just sell like videos. Let's say they are selling video rankings or something like that. And they go in and they get to the money part, and they don't know what their potential client's cost is or what their business model really is. And then it becomes really hard for people to talk because they don't understand, or they go in with a completely wrong offer. So make sure you do your homework and find out how much is a lead worth to this person. You don't have to know down to the dollar, but do you know the market? Do you know how much it's worth? Is a lead worth $5 or $50? Figuring that out, and then you can at least talk intelligently to the right people. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and to expand on what Adam said, if you understand the market, right? So your potential customer base, which will be like local businesses of whatever kind. So in my case, like contractors, tree service contractors, right? Let's just use that as an example. I understand about how much a good tree service lead is worth to a contractor, right? Because I understand from being in that industry, like what a qualified lead can produce for a contractor as far as revenue. And so that said, you can frame or steer the conversation into let me show you how, instead of how much does it cost, let me show you what it can produce. Does that make sense? Because then you're taking the cost equation, you're taking cost out of the equation, right? The focus isn't on the cost, the focus is on the return. And that when you reframe their question in that light or in that manner, then they start to see the return on investment potential. But as Hernan said, I 100% agree with him. If you have to first convince somebody as to why your service is valuable or important, then before you then have to sell it to them, then you're doing twice as much work, because first you have to convince, then you have to sell. And so avoid that. If you feel like you're catching resistance where you're trying to convince them, then let them go. Thank you very much. Click. Right? Thank you very much. Click. Get the hell out of my life. Next. Like SW, 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 SW. Some will, some won't. Some will, some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. Right? And that's really what it comes down to. So just fill your pipeline with quality leads. Know your market. Know the potential, what a lead is worth, so that you can steer the conversation towards a return on investment versus cost, price. That make sense?
Yeah, I'm reading this just a touch differently, and I don't disagree with either you or Hernan, but I'm more inclined to go with Adam. If she's having trouble understanding how to price her services, I mean, that's a bit different, and that's just understanding the market and what a lead's worth. I mean, if a guy If a lead is worth $2,000 to that person, and you can produce, then you should be concentrating on what what you're going to do, right? Which is you get paid for what you produce rather than getting paid for whatever, for something nebulous that the client doesn't understand.
Right.
I'm going to affect your bottom line positively. That's what I'm going to do for you. And as long as you take that approach, you understand the market, you understand the client, you understand what a lead is worth, then you won't have trouble pricing yourself and your services. That's how I'm seeing this question.
Yeah, and last thing, and this is a great question, by the way, Mel. So I'm going to +1 at number 1. And sorry we spent so much time on this, guys, but that's a fantastic question. What happened? It didn't +1. All right. The last thing I would say about that, Mel, is you can always have a foot in the door product or service that you can provide, even for free, right? And I don't recommend, guys, don't work for free for often, but you can have a foot in the door offer, some sort of product or service that you provide for free to prove yourself to a potential client, to a prospect, right? That works really well. Like I do that, right? Like I'll talk to a potential client and I'll say, look, let's talk about pricing. If that comes up, and then I'll say, let me just prove to you that I'm capable of producing some results, and then we'll talk about that. This is what I'm going to do. And so a lot of times what I'll do is I'll do some sort of video marketing campaign so I can get them some quick wins that they can see by going to search results and seeing videos ranked for various keywords, various locations, whatever. And I'll just do a quick, it might take me 30 minutes to set up a video campaign and blast it out using some spam tools or whatever, get them ranked for a few keywords. And then I just show them the results and say, look, this is what I was able to do in, a few days. And then imagine what I could do if you hired me for this or that. And does that make sense? So you can give them something for free just to whet their appetite, so to speak. And then you can upsell them into or sell them into an actual service at that point because you've given them results in advance. So again, video marketing is fantastic for that because it's something that you can get done very, very quickly. You can get results quickly. It's almost tangible, right? They can see the results. And because of that, you can oftentimes upsell. That's why I use video primarily as my opening product or service. Okay. Again, great question, Mel.